business TV show. Hey Mo. Hey Dad. I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. Hey Mo, Hey Dad is a mini-series that was put out back, I believe, in 2015. I believe there's 8 or 9 episodes of it. And it's one full story. And, you know, why am I bringing up the Three Stooges when it comes to business? Well, there's a whole lot you can learn from this stuff, but let me take it back a little further. The reason why I love to make recommendations of movies and TV shows is because it gives you a very different view than, say, how-to books, which is a lot of what I focus on, like mine, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. If you haven't got a free copy yet, get it now while you can. And while you're there, after you get your free copy, you'll get the option to get an audio book and a hard copy of it. You might want to look into that. AmazonProofBook.com. Go to AmazonProofBook.com for that very special deal. I don't know how long it's going to last, so be sure and catch it while you can. So let's talk about movies and TV shows. Now this is kind of a mix, because what this really is a mini-series. This was a mini-series. This is as if you had a very long documentary about the lives of the Three Stooges that's been stretched out and split out into 8 different episodes. For me personally, this was fabulous because I grew up with the Three Stooges. But before I get too deep into that, let me continue on with the concept of why you should look at movies and TV shows, specifically documentaries, and specifically in that realm, even when it comes to books, I love biographies. Biographies and autobiographies give you a different look. It helps encapsulate a person's life, and you get to step back and you get to see it through the eyes of the writer or director or producer of the movie, and you get to see from their point of view, and then you can kind of take it back to put it into your own point of view and see, okay, what do I relate with this person and what do I not relate with this person? What can I learn from their life? And what can I take away and move on my own? And what can I see in other people, and so on and so forth? This is the story of our life is something that will never be able to be encapsulated in a book or a movie. But the fact that we can take an outside perspective and put it out there, and then be able to relive it a little bit and be able to learn something from their lives, that's priceless. And that's why I really enjoy biographies, anything of a biographical nature. This is an interesting movie because this miniseries takes Paul Howard, and who Paul Howard is, he is the only son of Mo Howard. Now, he also had a daughter who was also in the movie, but this is mostly from the perspective of Paul. Paul grew up having Mo Howard as his father. Mo Howard is one of the main characters of the Three Stooges, and he goes through really talking about a life of living with a very famous person, in a very odd type of famous person, because really they were the international clowns of America. They took a vaudeville show and expanded upon it and created something for the movie screen on an international basis that no one had ever experienced. And then through the years, it morphed into different ideas and different concepts, but still, it's very much a clown show. That's what it is. This is a situation of extreme entertainment, absolute theater of the absurd, and a whole bunch of different elements wrapped into one. And it's interesting because with that, you also see the highs and lows that come with success, which is also visible in business. And there's also a business side and interpersonal relationships in terms of asking for what you're worth versus not asking for what you're worth, versus being too nice, versus wanting too much attention from people and not wanting too much attention. And if you're focused at all in an area where you have the ability to have any sense of notoriety or celebrity, and nowadays it's becoming more and more common and it's one of the things that I encourage you to do, is to take advantage of the fact that celebrity is something that can be produced. I talk about it all in my book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. You can check that out. But it's with that comes a whole lot of responsibility. And a lot of people's egos and backgrounds can't handle the ability of being known without letting it go to their head. And what you see is 3 brothers. So Mo, Curly, and Shemp, if you're familiar with the Three Stooges, they were all brothers. And you see how each one of them dealt with celebrity differently, both in good and bad ways. And how it either allowed them to grow or destroyed them in the end. And you'll have to watch the movie to see. And also their friend Louis Feinberg, who you know as Larry from the Three Stooges, how he plays into it, plus the 2 extra fellows who came toward the end, Joe Besser and Curly Joe. And so how these things all came into play and how they went through popularity spikes through periods of time to where they were down in the gutter and up into the stratosphere with how popular they were through the years. Very, very, very interesting stuff that I never ever knew or had ever heard about. And it's funny because I had never even heard of this series, and so it's worth checking out. Right now, at the time of this recording, it's playing on Tubi, which is a free app, and both for Roku, and you can get it on your phone. That's at TUBI, Tubi. You can go check that out. I know it's playing there. I know they have a DVD out there that's a pretty decent price over on Amazon. That name of that show again is Hey Mo, Hey Dad, all from the perspective of the son of Mo, but gives you a very thorough, I think, and very fair examination of the lives and success and failure of the Three Stooges, it's just an incredible subject, but it's a story of humans, and that's what you just got to understand. And within that is weave through this concept of all these things that you have to deal with when you're dealing with business, both success and failure. So, love to hear what you think. If you've seen it already, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Am I wrong? Was this not really interesting? I thought it was a kick. Plus, I'm sorry. I love the Three Stooges. I grew up with this stuff. As I got older, I went back and rewatched it, and you find all these little intricate little jokes throughout, especially the verbal play back and forth was just amazing, especially in the 30s and 40s. They just had some amazing scripts, and it's good stuff. Plus the genius of Curly is tough to deny. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. That's all I got for tonight. I'll be back here tomorrow night. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen, you lunkheads.